Greetings, everyone.
Hello,
Happy
everybody.
Happy
Hola.
Pride.
Feliz Pride.
Yes, Feliz Pride.
Feliz Día del Orgullo.
I love it. So here we are. We're coming to you from Fort Lauderdale. Hopefully, you guys can see us.
Yeah,
And
let me check my phone.
we're going to double check that we truly are live.
We're live.
Make sure.
Should be.
Let me look on here as well. Just give us a moment. We're new to all of. Yeah, there we are. We are live streaming, which is a fantastic thing.
That's weird. I don't see it in my phone.
I do. I see Darian. Darian is there saying, "Hey, what's up?" Darian, welcome. How did we know you were going to be the first one in our live chat? Maybe because you commented on our post on the YouTube channel. So thank you and welcome to Darian. And
Now I see it.
now you see our chat?
Yes.
Beautiful. So yeah, we're coming to you live. We wanted to go live today in particular because it is Gay Pride.
Gay Pride, yeah.
Officially today is Gay Pride. June 28th, 1969 is when the Stonewall riots occurred. And so this would be the official date that we would celebrate Gay Pride here in the United States and the start of the LGBTQ movement across not only here in the U.S., but the world. And so, yeah, we want to spend some time with all of you tonight talking about Gay Pride. What does Gay Pride mean to us? What does it mean to all of you who are watching our channel? We're curious to hear some feedback from you guys tonight. We're going to share some history with you. And so we got a few hellos. So yeah. I see.
So, okay, Darian, then Enyo
Federico, hello.
And then Charles, hola.
Charles says, I'm just getting here. Yep, we are live.
Nancy, hola Nancy.
And Nancy Espinosa, hola chicos. Mwah.
Kari, she's here.
Yay, Kari is here. Boomers, Kari, boomers. So yeah, we got a few people in the room, which is awesome. So as I said, we're going to talk a little bit about Gay Pride today, the history of Gay Pride. What's that?
Enyo, he said that he's from Brazil.
Ah.
He loves us.
Well, welcome all the way from Brazil, which is great. And so, yeah, we're going to have a nice time tonight chatting and getting to know some of you, getting to know what you all think about Gay Pride, what you have done in your lives to celebrate Pride. We're curious about that. And then we'll share, like I said, some historical context with you all about sort of my life and what I've done, what Juan Carlos has done in celebrating Pride. And so, yeah, there you have it. So we're going to put on a little bit of Pride for you right now. I'm already wearing my Pride Mickey shirt. So to go with that, we decided, da-da-da.
My name.
Yes. So Juan Carlos, and then I've got mine here. So we love that. So as we always say, happiness is
a lifestyle.
It is. So we're wearing our Pride ears. We picked these up.
And we have a little...
Oh, we also have a guest.
Little guest.
Oh, boy. Look at that. Mickey says hello to everybody. So as you can tell, he's full of pride as well. We picked him up last year. So yay, there's our prideful...
Yeah, we have a video where we are unpacking this. Remember?
Oh, yeah, we do. So that's on the channel.
From a year ago.
Cute. So, but yeah, we're definitely going to talk about a lot of different things. We just wanted to kind of open up the chat tonight with a little bit of fun, Mickey and our hats and all of that good stuff. And Mickey's waving. Juan Carlos, got any more comments? What do we got going on? I'm going to take my hat off just because I'm a little warm.
Bruce saying hello, and that he's from Michigan. Hello, Bruce.
There's Bruce. Hello from Michigan.
And hope you all cover the impact.
Charles wants us to talk about the impact of COVID on Pride this year. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that because certainly it's had it. We're celebrating Pride with you from our house over the computer. We were listening earlier today. Radio Andy on the radio is doing 24 hours of Pride music, which was kind of fun.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things happening, but we have to celebrate differently this year. So we'll talk about that with you all as well. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about what Pride means to us. So For
Please
me,
start.
I'll start. Pride harkens back to me to, it's an interesting, I am 53 years old. So my coming out process was in the mid 1980s, which, as everyone knows, was the height of the AIDS crisis in this country. So for me, it was a really scary time to be coming out of the closet, to be realizing that, okay, I'm gay, I know I'm gay, but we're living in a time when the gay community was being devastated by this horrific disease. And then, unfortunately, at that time, the media was also very, very sensationalizing the disease. And every day I would come home from school and look at the news, and it was just horrible news. And it was a very scary time. Um, but one of the things that came out of that time in the mid 1980s, and when I started college, was the realization that there were groups and organizations and groups of people that were forming, um, and going out, and much like today, letting their voices be heard and protesting and speaking up for our brothers and sisters that were suffering in the 1980s. So it was really during that period of time in the mid 1980s when I got my first taste of what Pride meant, and that was actually in Atlanta, Georgia.
Hmm.
I went to my very first Pride
Out of the
rally.
places.
Yeah, of all the places, really, in the South. But there was a group that was formed in New York called ACT UP, which was, and many people considered ACT UP to be very vocal and somewhat aggressive, because they were basically screaming for the government to step in and to help, and to help us as a community with the horrible AIDS crisis. And so in Atlanta at that time when I was in college, I went up to Atlanta and I saw posters at one of the bars, and there was an ACT UP rally. So I thought, okay, I'm curious to see what that's about. And so I did. I participated. I didn't necessarily join ACT UP, but I was there and I was present, and I lent my voice in the 80s. And that was the beginning of my activism, if you will, in fighting for our rights as a community, and the rights of those around us. So for me, that was really important. And it was during that time that I learned about where pride comes from and the history of pride. And I think it's really important that we share that information, especially my generation and generations from before, that we pass down the history of why we celebrate today and why we still go out and let our voices be heard for equality. And we're seeing that more than ever, especially right now in the climate that we're in with Black Lives Matter. It's very reminiscent of that period of time in my younger life, when we were marching on Washington in 1993. I'll show you a picture. Back in 1993, that was the biggest thing that I ever did, was go to Washington, D.C., and let me see if I can find. And there was the National March on Washington for Lesbian and Gay Rights. And at the time, that was the largest gathering. And there were over 1 million LGBT
Wow.
community members and allies that gathered in Washington, D.C. and on the lawn. And that was the last time that the AIDS quilt was actually displayed in its entirety during the 1993 March on Washington. And that particular time of my life was the most profound experience that I ever had, as far as really coming into grips and being comfortable with who I was as a gay man. But none of that would have been possible unless we had the Stonewall riots.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we celebrate that today, and we wanted to go live with you all today because today, exactly 51 years ago today, June 28th, 1969, our brothers and sisters stood up against being oppressed in New York City, and the Stonewall riots occurred. And what I want to do is we're going to look at some of your comments, and then I'm going to share a little video with you that we found that I think is great to give you a little historical context of the Stonewall riots, and hopefully you guys will enjoy that. So let's chat for a moment before we do that.
So here we have Kari. You're
Kari.
the cutest ever.
Kari says, we're the cutest.
Thank you.
Kari, so are you. We love
And
you.
then Carlos Naranjo, that he's from Cartago.
Ah.
Soy de Cartago también. Nosotros somos de Cartago
Vive
también.
Cartago, vive. Yay. I
Hola,
love
Carlos.
that. Hola, Carlos.
And,
Darian says he wants us to talk about gay marriage.
Yeah, we
are
will.
going to talk about that for sure.
And then poesía,
Hola, me
poesía
encanta.
pagana. Hola, me encanta. Es un contenido. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
And then Steven.
Steven, hola, hola.
Hola, Steven.
Mwah, Steven, thank you. Welcome to our
Then
chat.
Michael,
You guys are so great. Thank you so much,
And
J.
then
Michael.
Chappie is here.
Chappie, hola Chappie. Hola chicos. Chappie's here from Las Vegas. We're happy
And-
you're here.
And Peach says, love the hat ears and your channel t-shirt.
Yay. I was running around before the chat, so I started sweating. So
Gracias.
I'll put my ears back on when I
And
kind of...
George says, hey guys. Hey George.
Hey, George Cabrera. Welcome.
Um,
Welcome to the chat. And then we got
Oh,
Jay.
Marcela's here.
Oh, Marcela. Hola, Marcela. Another greetings from Cartago. We have lots of family and friends watching. Marcela. Watching us from Costa Rica, which is awesome. And then we got New York.
New York.
Did I say it right? New York.
New York.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, as we said, we wouldn't be here today talking about gay pride if it wasn't for the Stonewall riots. So, we're going to ask you to stay tuned. It was at this point in our live chat that we put a video up, and we encourage you to go over and check it out. But the video is a little historical reference of the Stonewall riots that was produced and put together by the History Channel. So we'll put a link down below, but we wanted to share with all of you a little history about the Stonewall riots and have that in our discussion. So again, we encourage you to check that video out. In the meantime, let's get back to our live chat. All right, and we're back.
We're back.
Do we all feel educated now?
A little bit more.
A little more, yeah. I think it's important that we share that, and I think it was great that nice little concise video that we found from the History Channel, and they did a beautiful job on putting that piece together. So yeah, we really wanted to share that with all of you. So what are your thoughts? I'm curious if any of you had seen that. Or were you aware of the Stonewall riots? If you weren't, did you learn something by watching that? Just curious. Put a comment. Let us know. Was there anything that surprised you about what you saw there? And then speaking of the Stonewall riots, how do we put that in context of what we see going on in today's world? And right now, what's happening in our communities here in the United States with looking for equal rights and justice for the Black community. And so, yeah, I think it's powerful. And change comes from our voices, and change comes from peaceful protest. So, although the Stonewall riots were not necessarily peaceful, they got aggressive, and that was unfortunate. But the year later, with the first Pride Parade in New York City, then that started that process of peaceful protest, and much like the March on Washington that I attended, like I said, in 1993, and from there. So, yeah. Pretty powerful stuff when you think about it. We've come a long way in 51 years.
Yeah, let's see some of the
We got some comments.
Juan Gonzalez from Colombia. Hola, Juan.
Hola, Juan. Welcome.
And then Choppy says that George is his other half. Nice.
Very cool. Let me go
And
back up here so I
then-
can put them on the screen. New York says that Stonewall is so tiny, yet it's up. Yeah, it's amazing. If you ever find yourself in New York and you're in the village, and you go to the Stonewall Inn, and the cool thing is actually, I don't know if it was I believe it was last year. Maybe you know this, New York. Anyway, they did recognize the government recognized the Stonewall Inn as a national monument. And they did that and recognized it, and so now it's a historical beacon for the gay community.
Okay.
But yeah, the actual place itself, relatively small. But you're right, the impact of that small little bar and what it had.
Yeah, Darian's asking, have you seen the Matt movie about a gay man got beat up?
Yeah, the Matthew Shepard story is what Darian's talking about. Matthew Shepard, that's an amazing tragedy that occurred with Matthew Shepard. He was a young man, a college student, who was brutally beaten and killed for being gay.
Okay, then I think I remember, yeah.
And there's the Matthew Shepard Foundation, which is an amazing organization, and his mother and father to this day are still very involved in working to end violence against the gay and lesbian community, which is great.
Then we have
And
Carlos
Carlos-
asking, do you guys know if
If the riots had anything to do with Judy Garland's death? I've heard that people were pissed and sad. So it's interesting that's been one of those rumors that's been around forever, because the same time in 1969, in June of 1969, Judy Garland, she did pass away.
Mm-hmm.
And there was, there were rumors that everybody was out rioting because they were upset about Judy Garland. That I don't believe that to be 100% true.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that in a historical context. The bar was raided by the New York police.
Uh-huh.
And because the bar was raided, there were a group of transgender and cross-dressing and as well as drag queens that really stood up and fought back that night. They had it. So maybe the combination of Judy Garland's passing,
Yeah,
and
all like
all of that.
like every historical moment, there's not like one single cause that
Yeah.
triggers that moment. There's the combination of everything, literally everything that is happening around the world.
Right.
And
But
it's
we
not
weren't.
isolated.
I wasn't there, so I can't say for sure. But I would say that it was like you said, that the buildup of the oppression, and it just kind of boiled over that night, and that's what we have today.
And then what else do we have?
Ryan and Kenny, he's a documentarian, so he's seen all about Stonewall. Very cool. Kari says it was very informative. Thank you, Kari.
And then it says
Darian says he learned a lot.
Then Maxine out says you are a historical.
Oh,
No?
I don't know how much
I
of a
don't know,
historical
but-
beacon we are, but you know what? If we can help educate and we can enlighten and we can maybe our story or just sharing of ourselves
Help
help
someone.
someone, then fantastic.
Great.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
mission accomplished.
Yeah, we love that. Charles says, with the current political and social climate is today, do we feel there might be a regression of gay rights? How do we feel about the Supreme Court ruling? So, great question. And first off, we were celebrating last week amongst all of the frustration and sadness and hurt that this country has been going through over the last few weeks. To have that ruling come down last week from the United States Supreme Court saying that across the land that LGBTQ can no longer be discriminated against in the workplace, that was huge. That's something that we were marching in 1993, like I said, and I was in Washington, D.C., asking to end workplace discrimination. And it just happened a week ago, 2020. So, in my perspective, to answer your question, although there are lots of people that would love to see our rights go backward, I think what we saw last week is a beacon of hope that no, we are moving forward. We will continue to gain rights for our community. We will continue to stand up for what is right. And so I'm not that concerned that we're going to go backwards.
Yeah, and again, as I mentioned before, it's not just the consequence of one single thing. It was, that it's correct that they were marching for those kind of things back then, but then the society, it's actually what is changing.
Yeah.
Because you can create whatever rules, whatever laws you want to create, but it's up to the society to actually make the change. And like many companies here, and not just here in the United States, around the world, in Costa Rica as well, where they have their own non-discriminatory rules or guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the one company that I work for, there's a complete chapter in the human resources document that is against discrimination, against discrimination of any type, religion, sex, gender. So that becomes part of the society, and then the laws are here just to support that, but you cannot force anything.
Yeah.
Things, all those moments have to come from the people.
Right. So I'm still very hopeful and very confident that we as a society are moving in the right direction. So I think that's great. So thank you for that question. That was really good. Let's see. J. Michael says, excellent video. What's happening now is very reminiscent of that time. You're absolutely right. It takes united voices to make a change, and also makes you realize how important elections are. Absolutely. So, yep, we encourage everybody to get out and vote in November. That's important. Chappie says that Mayor Jack Evans was who forbid the police from raiding the gay bars in Dallas. Exactly. That was a big move that in the 1970s, another step in the right direction. And there's been so many trailblazers that have come since then, to make change, to make things better for our community. And that, we can't lose sight of all of those people who have laid the pavement so that you and I could get married a couple months ago. And, it's just amazing to me that even now, and then the fact that we're celebrating as well, not only last week did the United States Supreme Court, but just a couple weeks ago, we celebrated Costa Rica being
a month ago.
1 month. Yeah, it is a month ago now. Costa Rica now recognizes same-sex marriage, and it's the first country in Central America to do so. So we're really proud of our marriage being recognized here in the United States and in Juan Carlos's home country of Costa Rica, so that when we travel back to Costa Rica, we'll be able to do paperwork and everything there. And, ultimately we would love to have dual citizenship, and that's a great thing.
Yeah.
So
amazing.
It will be amazing. And then Ryan and Kenny says, I think gay rights aren't changing, but trans rights are. I will say it's been really frustrating to see some of the oppression that's been happening to our trans brothers and sisters in the transsexual community, and what the government has been doing as far as kind of eroding some of their rights. I'm hopeful that, again, with our voices and to continue to fight for our trans community, that we will be able to get those rights back. So that's a really good point, that we as the LGB of the community are moving much quicker in our rights than the T.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know it's frustrating and it's sad, because I have a couple very good friends of mine that are transsexual, and I want them to have just as many rights as anybody else. Exactly. Yeah, and let's see. Pride aside, you guys have a great channel. Thumbs up. Oh,
thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Oh, and speaking of thumbs up, if you haven't done so yet, go ahead, do that. Hit the thumbs up. It really helps us. It helps our channel. Yay! It helps with the algorithm, whatever that is. And then we also have a new feature too that's on there. And if you look down, you don't have to do this. We're not asking you to do it, so don't jump in and run and feel like you need to do it. But there is an icon there that's called a super chat. So if you're really, really engaged and you want to send us a super chat, you can do that, and that would be very, very
that will
nice
help us
of you
to create more of this
so that we can continue to
content,
keep the channel going. So the thumbs up, and we did announce on our live chat the other day that was very spontaneous, that we did from the beach. We launched our website the other day, which is gonjc.com.
Yeah.
And we did our first blog post. So we're going to really kind of focus a lot about happiness as a lifestyle on our website, and try to bring all of you information about what things you can do to make yourself happy. So check that out if you haven't had a chance to do so.
Then we say, Carlos says that over 100 couple, over 100 couple gay marriages were registered in the last month.
That's amazing.
Actually, when I read the news, it was 107, I think.
Really?
Yeah, so that's amazing in just 1 month.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so cool. Very cool. Yeah, and we did a little piece, and we featured it in our live chat about the first couple, which was a lesbian couple that got married just after midnight in Costa Rica, which was very cool.
Darian's asking if we have seen Prayer for Bobby.
Prayer for we have not. We'll have to check that out. I'm not sure what that is.
And then Barry says, hi.
Hi, Barry's Despair.
Hola.
Welcome to the chat. And then we got Jay Michael saying, what you are doing right now is one of the best things possible. You're showing two great guys sharing their life stories, real, authentic.
Thank you.
That's very kind. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think, and maybe talking a little about my experience with Pride, growing up, I didn't have a lot of experience, to be honest. I was not involved or engaged. It was until I came here and started with him that I went to my first Pride. It was in Miami, right? The one that we were riding.
We rode in a we rode in a
that was
Pride
my
parade.
first time, and it was amazing. I mean, I was not expecting the amount of people that I saw, and we were on the motorcycle, and all kinds of people waving at us, cheering, with the flag and everything. And I was like, this is amazing. This is something that I was not expecting. I thought it was going to be something smaller, but everybody was literally celebrating us, which was great.
It is a very empowering feeling when you're marching in a parade, a pride parade.
On the other side, though, I thought that the pride was it's also becoming more like a party. I was hoping, and I think that was the next year, I was hoping more of like people standing up and talking about what this means for the gay community, but it was pretty much just a party, which is great. I mean, I love the music and the concert and people having a good time and all that. But that, for me, that was missing. That it was just a big party. I was like, where is the meaning of this big party?
Right.
Because for younger generations that don't have the knowledge, and they are now just growing up with everything in their hands, with all the rights that we already have right now, they need to know. So if someone can provide, like him did, some input of the story of this, or in a book or in TV, whatever, then it's great to show that, so people know that this just didn't come out of the blue. It's just, it took people to fight for it, people to even die for it. So that's for me. That's my my experience with Pride and what it means to me. Just not the big party that it is in celebration, but also getting to know the story.
Yeah, and I think that's important. I think one of the reasons our relationship has worked so well is that he has been eager to know the history and to engage in that and want to find out more about. And like he said, a lot of people give gay pride a bad rap because, unfortunately, in the public's eyes, many times it's a news clip on television of a parade float going by with scantily dressed people or whatever. And so there's misconceptions of who the gay community is and what we're about, etc. So yeah, I'm really happy that we were able that his first Pride experience. I'm a member of a group called the Stonewall Knights, which is located in South Florida. I ride a Harley Davidson, real butch. But the Stonewall Knights participate in many things throughout the year. They raise money for charity. They do things for the gay community throughout the year. They do a thing at Christmas time for children with Toys for Tots and things of that nature. And then there's several pride parades that happen throughout Florida. And the Stonewall Knights are typically invited to ride the motorcycles in the parade. So I've done that several times, and Juan Carlos was able to join me for her first Pride, which was really a great time. So unfortunately, we're not on the Harley very much these days. We haven't been on the bike since last year. Just sits in the garage. But anyway, so let's look at some more. Giovanni, hola. Hi, nice to see you, Giovanni. Welcome to the chat. Ryan and Kenny said, prayers for Bobby's a true story about a very religious family whose child commits suicide for being gay. Wow. Yeah, that's a very unfortunate reality that many young gay and lesbian, transgender, questioning queer youth go through. And thankfully, there are so many great organizations that exist today for young people to get involved in that didn't exist when I was young. I love that there's gay student alliances, gay straight alliances in high schools across the country. Many of the major metropolitan areas have gay and lesbian community centers, and in those community centers, they offer resources to the youth, which is awesome. So if you have, or maybe you are a young person watching this video either tonight or in the future, look out to your local community and look out for the closest gay and lesbian community center, because they will have a huge amount of resources for you to rely on and help you in your journey. And if you're struggling or having difficulties, there's phone numbers you can call, so make sure you do that. I think that's important.
Yeah.
It was a great point.
Then we have New York asking, curious, I follow you guys around the globe. Have you hit any obstacles regarding your travels? I would think not, but I'm curious. Well,
No.
sometimes just um, immigration can be a little challenging, but for the most part, no.
Yeah, but that's not an obstacle with regard to being gay.
Oh, because no,
No.
no.
We've never had any overt discrimination. We've had, the occasional somebody looks at you weird or whatever. The only time, and I don't even think you were aware of it, and surprisingly, there was one time we checked into a hotel in New York City, of all places, and I had booked the hotel online. I'm not going to say which hotel, but when we checked in at the desk, you were kind of, I think, getting the bags or something. So I was checking at the front desk, and then the guy looked up in the computer and he said, "Oh, looks like we've got a mistake here. I have you in a king room. I'll go ahead and try to find you a room with 2 queen beds." And I went, "No, I ordered a king room." And he kind of looked at me like, and then he looked at Juan Carlos and he looked back at me and I said, "Yeah, we ordered a king room." And
in New York, really?
it was New York City, of all places. And it was like he got flustered. I could tell he was a little embarrassed. I didn't say anything to him, but, and then there was one time in Costa Rica, the same thing at the hotel, where the person was like, because they're a little different there. You have to, when you check in, like even though Juan Carlos would come stay with me, they had to have his identification in order to come into the hotel. And she kind of gave one of those. But no, we've never had any overt. And again, we are just who we are. We're not putting on any airs. We're not trying to hide anything. So we're, and we've traveled extensively.
Yeah.
But we're aware of our surroundings, as anybody should be. So luckily, we're doing well. Wow, somebody from the Netherlands. Giovanni comes all the way from the Netherlands. Thank you very much, Giovanni. We appreciate that. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you. And then we have Charles, now trying to change the subject, but my plans on Vakaya too.
Any plans on Vakaya trips in the future? Would you ever do a live concerning experience of singles on the trip? I was inspired by your video and want to. So yeah, we could talk about that because we were just talking about travel. Why not? And that's a huge part of gay pride. That if it wasn't for the Stonewall riots and the pride movements, we wouldn't have LGBTQ vacations. He and I would have never met because we met on a gay cruise, which was amazing, thankfully. Now we're married. So he's asking about Vakaya. And just to kind of let you all know, Vakaya is a relatively new LGBTQ plus all-inclusive travel company. And they do cruises, they do land and sea. We were on the inaugural Vakaya cruise, which was last year in August.
Yeah, almost a year ago.
Almost a year ago.
By this time we were preparing.
We were. We are not booked on the next cruise that they have, which is scheduled next year I think it's in February. I don't remember the exact date. You can look it up. But they have a Caribbean cruise going. And the only reason we would go in a heartbeat because we love Vakaya. But we have traveled the Caribbean several times, and we both I live in South Florida. He lives in South Florida, Costa Rica. So for us to go to the Caribbean, we would rather spend our money and go to places that are not that familiar to us.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we're not saying that we will never go back to a Caribbean cruise because we love it, but not right now.
But to answer your question, and you said about a single cruiser, I will tell you this. I went on my first gay cruise as a single person. I was brought on board by a friend of mine who was an entertainer. I really didn't want to go on the gay cruise. It was sort of like dragged. I was like, I don't think I'm going to like it. And that very first cruise changed my mind about everything. All of the things that I thought you can do as much as you want, you can do as little as you want. You can party as much as you want. You can sleep as much as you want. You can engage with other people as much as you want or not. The good thing is that you immediately are in an environment where the entire ship is filled with like-minded people. So all of those inhibitions that we have in our day-to-day life, or feeling like we need to put on whatever that is, we need to be careful. that all goes out the window. And you went on your first cruise gay as a single person too.
Mhm.
So what about?
Yeah, I mean, for my first experience, I didn't know anything about gay cruises, and for me, it was going to be okay. Let's see what this is all about, and just have a good time. And yeah, it is true. I mean, you are in your minding your own business. Everybody else is. If you want to engage with someone, conversation, have a dinner, uh, dance, or whatever, they will bring you in. If you want to be on your own, they will leave you alone. That's it. It's pretty easy. You can do as much as you want, or be just chill
Yeah.
all day, which is amazing because I mean, one of my main concerns was like, what if people really want to push me, to do something that I really don't want to, like. You want to you have to come and drink as much as we are, and I'm not a big drinker, so I that's something that I would not want to do. But no, it was pretty easy. I mean,
Yeah.
if I wanted to have a drink, I did. If I didn't want to, then I just would be drinking water. And same with dancing or whatever. It was pretty easy. It was great. A lot of fun. A lot of good friends, new people. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I highly recommend
we've
that.
met because we've been on how many? We've been on 5 together now. Yeah, so we've been on 5 LGBTQ cruises together, and 4 of those were RSVP vacations, and 1 was Vakaya.
Mhm.
Both are great. Vakaya just takes it to a little bit, in our opinion, just a little bit new level, but the experience is amazing. So we won't belabor that. But as a single person, certainly don't be afraid to go on an all gay cruise. You'll have a great time.
Yeah, there's a.
And they do singles
Yeah,
mixers.
exactly. That's what I was.
Yeah,
saying.
so if you want to participate, they have daily. They'll have like singles meetup on the Lido deck, or
Yeah.
whatever.
So you go and you put
Yeah.
a tag with your name, and then
Yeah.
you meet new people.
It's great. And we have lifelong friends that we met on cruises.
Mhm.
2 of our best friends we met because well, actually, you met them too on that cruise when we met. They were at our wedding. That's how close we've become.
Yeah.
So
They are actually the reason why we're here today.
yeah, they were responsible for he and I meeting. So I was on a cruise with a bunch of couples, so they were trying to get me hooked up. I got lucky. So hopefully that answered your question. But feel free if you want. Go to our website. You can send us an email, reach out to us, and we'll be happy to answer any more questions.
Yeah, we have some videos here.
And we do have all of our. I think he said he binge watched our
Okay.
Makaya videos. So let's see who else we
Brian
got.
says hi, sending lots of love. Hola, Brian.
Hola, Brian. Ryan and Kenny. Let's see. We had people look at us when I call Kenny honey. Yes. And then one day his husband was enrolling the kids. Having 2 dads. Yeah, that's, it's always interesting. It's always other people's reactions that sometimes are funny to me. I don't know. I just sort of laugh at it. Like, today, like a good example, actually something amazing happened to us today. Tell them what happened when we went to Starbucks.
Oh yeah, that was
I mean-
amazing. It was a first. So as many times we were at our local Starbucks ready
Drive
to get a-
through, because
yeah,
right now we're not
drive-through.
going in.
Anyway, we placed our order. We went to the window, and he was ready to scan his phone to pay, and then the lady said at the window, "The person in front of you already paid for your coffees." It's like, oh my God!
How amazing was
Yeah.
that? That
And
was
that was
like
just
one of those.
random because it was, of course, someone that we didn't know.
They were
It was
already
just a kind
gone. They
person.
drove away. I have no idea who they were. But yeah, we got up to the window and our coffees were paid for. So that was just, it was like,
Mhm.
So anyway, after we got our coffees and we drove away, I'm a little anal, I guess you could say, because we bring our own coffee cups with us from the house and we take the Starbucks and pour it in our own cups.
For me, it's a little too much, but
And then sanitize. We're being safe. So I pulled over and we did that with the coffee. And then as I was driving away, again, I was really excited about the fact that somebody bought us coffee. And so there was another car. This big truck, that was at the intersection, and I was waiting to go through the intersection, but I was dancing. I was like, woo, having a good time. And then the person in the truck, I told him, I'm like, we just got the most crazy look from that person because we were having a good time anyway. So that was fun.
Giovanni's asking if you have visited the Netherlands. Yes, I went to Amsterdam, of course.
Yeah, we've both been to Amsterdam.
In 2012. No, 2014. Yes.
Yeah.
I stayed there for like a week. It was a lot of fun. I loved it.
Yeah, I've been to, we haven't been there together yet, but I've been to Amsterdam. How many times have I been to Amsterdam? 3 times I've been to Amsterdam. And never went in a coffee shop. Anyway, walked by them. Anybody else have any questions? Let's see, guys. Please do this more often. Yeah, New York, appreciate this. We plan on doing these live chats. You know, we've kind of tossed it around. We're trying to find the right vibe for doing these live chats, and sometimes it's difficult when you're sitting around and you're like, okay, well, maybe we should do a live chat. Well, what should we talk about? You know, it's kind of, so we're really looking to engage with all of you. So feel free to shoot us a message or put a comment on any of our videos, or go to our website and send us a message, and or our Instagram or Twitter. Everything we have, all of our social media is Geo and JC. So easy. But yeah, if you reach out to us and give us ideas or thoughts about videos or topics that we could talk about in live chats, we are definitely open to doing more of these. We were talking about maybe doing it, at one point we said maybe once a week. I think that's a little much, but maybe we do it every couple weeks, depending.
Yeah, I also suggested that maybe we can do a live as we are making some kind of food, but it's a little difficult because if you're making food, then you cannot engage too much with the people that is asking question and commenting because you are doing whatever,
exactly.
right? So that's a little challenging, but maybe.
So
Yeah, and then we have little videos here that things that had happened in the last month or so that we have recorded. Like a couple of weeks ago, we just bought a few weeks ago some new plants for our garden, and we planted the plants and the new pots and everything. It was beautiful, and then of course the iguanas came to visit us
our
and
wonderful
have a little lunch.
iguanas.
And then I've been chasing those iguanas like daily. And this is something that people from Costa Rica will appreciate. I will be chasing them with my chancleta.
And he does.
Yeah, I don't want to hit them. I just want to scare them away.
You tell him about the iguana. I'm going to see if I can. I think I have a video that I'm going to throw up real quick. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, because they keep coming and eating our plants. I'm like, we are trying to keep our garden beautiful, and they just come and like there's food served for them. So yeah, I keep chasing them with a chancleta. I'm like, boom. But yeah, I promise I'm not trying to hurt the iguanas. Just scare them away.
Just scare them a little bit. Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, things like that, little things that we were being recorded on camera just to have a little fun during a video chat.
Right.
So, and then there was something else. I don't remember right now, but yeah, just little moments of our daily life.
Yeah, and then we did this week too. We're a little late to the game. We purchased a couple bird houses for our backyard. Not that we want to do necessarily videos about bird watching, but we have a lot of really cool birds that come to our yard. So we're hoping maybe, it might be too late this year, but maybe we can get some birds to nest, which would be kind of fun.
Maybe.
We
have a question from Charles. Says, what U.S. city and what county would you say is a must visit? Well, I would say New York, but maybe not right now.
For a must visit in the U.S.?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely New York, San Francisco,
Chicago,
for sure. Miami,
Orlando,
Disney,
exactly,
for sure. And then more recipes. J. Michael wants more recipes.
Please.
You enjoyed
Pinto
the
Gallo was amazing. It's Gallo Pinto.
Gallo Pinto, but it's okay.
It's okay. We get it.
Were you able? Hey, Michael, were you able to find the salsa Lizano? I'm curious if you were able to get that special ingredient wherever you live.
And New York says
He loved
love
Isla
Isla
de Mujer.
Isla Mujeres.
Isla Mujeres, yeah.
Yeah, that was a great video.
Yeah, that video did well for us. And we have one video that, tell them, it's been
Yeah,
insane the last
we
few
already
weeks.
mentioned that, but for some reason,
I-
the Walmart video just went crazy.
It's like I've never seen.
It has over 150,000
Yeah, it's like
visits.
amazing. Amazing,
Yes,
amazing, amazing.
I don't out of our videos, the one that is very simple, like no special effects or anything, just
me
a daily thing,
Wandering around in the store.
around the store, and so whatever, we take it.
Yep. People seem to resonate with that video for some crazy reason.
Marcela replied to Michael, Gallo Pinto is the best.
Gallo Pinto is the best. Yeah, I was trying to
I
find.
met some Gallo Pinto this week, by the way.
You made. Oh yes, he did make Gallo Pinto this week. Yeah, I can't find it. I'm not going to keep digging because
Which
I don't.
one is the one?
I had a little video of the iguana, but I think it's on another hard drive, which is not attached to the computer right now. So, never mind about the iguanas. But we have these giant iguanas in our backyard. Suffice
Yeah,
to
the
say.
other day we had the biggest one ever.
Yeah, the thing was huge.
It was a dinosaur.
There, I stopped sweating, so I'll put my ears back on. Carlos found us through the Walmart video.
See? There you go.
Whatever works. Welcome, Carlos. Have we ever been to Guatemala?
No. My
No?
sister has several times, mostly for work,
Mhm.
but she likes it. Yeah. But I
Yeah, I've
haven't.
never been there. So
my
I'd like
my
to check
dad
it out.
wanted to go, actually this year, he wanted to go with my mom and my sister, but because of what has been happening then, they had to
Right.
cancel plans.
Carlos said he was blown away because that Walmart in the video is literally meters away from his house.
Nice. Which it's funny to me, and I think for a lot of chicos, is that it was surprising for you to find a very neat, organized
Store.
Walmart.
Yeah, Walmart. Yeah.
For us, and you can see many of those comments in the video. For us, it's the way it is. Walmart.
Yeah,
and
people are like-
most of the supermarkets are just organized.
Yeah, in general, they're very, very organized. But that Walmart takes it to a whole other level as far as I'm concerned. With
Yeah,
just,
and a lot of people ask that it is that way because it's almost empty, but no, every time that we been there, it's
Yeah.
always organized. No
and
matter.
Carlos, you could probably testify to that too. That
Yeah.
store does get very busy.
Maybe it's not that organized on Black Friday, but
Is there
or-
any store that organized on Black
no,
Friday?
or by Christmas time, but
Yeah,
rest of the time is always very, very organized.
that's true. So Darian asked us earlier if we would talk about gay marriage.
Yes.
So yeah, why don't we take a minute and talk about gay marriage since we are gay and we're married. So right now, since we're going to chat about that, why don't you all give us some questions if you have any questions about us getting married and curious about what that was like for us.
You're sweaty again?
Huh?
You're sweaty again?
No, it's just, I don't know. I feel weird wearing a hat in the house, but I like it. Plus, we matched. See, I'm all rainbow. Now you're rainbow.
He's
And
rainbow.
we got Mickey Rainbow.
He's very rainbow.
Yes, Marcella, who just commented that she loves Walmart and then said, Gio, this is true. Marcella is a very dear friend of Juan Carlos's, and Marcella has come and visited with us, and her husband love Walmart.
Yeah.
Like we
Like
went,
nobody
we
else.
took them to Orlando where there's a big super Walmart, and literally they were there for how many hours?
Like 9 hours.
Like 9 hours. Who spends 9 hours in a Walmart? Marcella does.
He was like, oh, boy.
So that was pretty exciting anyway for her. Let me grab something real quick. Sorry.
What?
Because we're talking about marriage, and I had washed my hands, so I
Ah.
wanted to make sure I had my wedding ring on. So yeah, as you all know, and if you don't know, you can check out our video. We have a little documentary video on the channel of us getting married in Savannah, Georgia, on February 16th of this year, and it's hard to believe that it to me, because I think we got married and then in less than a month we were on lockdown. That it seems like it was so long ago. Does it feel that way to you as well, or does it seem like, I don't know, it
Yeah,
just
it's
seems.
weird because it feels like a whole different world.
Yeah, I mean, it was really, I mean, and truly, compared to where we are today in the world, where we were in February, um, certainly things have changed. Our honeymoon has been spent together like we've never been together before, which I think is great because during this period of stay at home and isolation and all of that, it's really, really bonded he and I even more. I mean, we were already connected tremendously prior to getting married, and that's why we got married.
Yeah, I mean, we spent a lot of time together in the 5 years that we met, but never like this because we were like traveling back and forth, Costa Rica, the US, and then going to Disney, going to Vegas, going to New York, cruise, and all that, or just staying here. Um, but during this few months, it's been only here in our house here in Florida, which,
Right.
I mean, it's been great because we are together, and now married. Um, but it's been really different than it was before. And yeah.
Yeah, it's different because we do miss the ability because we, as you know, if you watch the channel, we like to get out and about. We like to travel. We like to go and do things, or just go and explore, even if it's just locally. And to kind of have that taken away has been really kind of hard and hard for everybody. But it's allowed us also to find more ways of engaging with each other and finding other new normals, which has been great, and finding new ways to
Cook more.
yeah, I mean that's true. We used to dine out quite a bit. Now we cook at home the majority of the time, so it's been fun experimenting together in the kitchen. Um, so that's good. So somebody I saw, why did we get married in Georgia? You want to answer that?
Yes. It was my request. The first time that I went to Savannah, Georgia, um, to visit his family, it was for Thanksgiving. It was back in 2015, and I just fell in love with that city. And I was like, if we ever get married, I would love to do that here. I would love to do in this city because it's just beautiful, and we did it.
Yeah. So when I said to him, finally popped the question, and he said yes, and then we started talking about where we would like to get married. He was very adamant that he wanted to be married in Savannah, Georgia, which really warmed my heart because although I've never personally lived in Savannah, my family lives in Savannah. So my mother is there. My father lives right outside of Savannah now. Um, my sisters and my nieces and nephews and their husbands. So I have family there, and they all moved there when I was in college. So for me, Savannah is like a second home. So it's been great. So that's why we got married in Savannah, Georgia. And then Jay Michael, your kilts were beautiful. Scottish heritage. Yes, I am Scottish and Irish. And what's interesting is with my name being Gio, I'm also Italian. And I grew up really focused in my family on my father's side of the family, on the Italian side of the family, and really got to know and thought that I was mostly Italian. And then as an adult, just several years ago, I went ahead and did Ancestry.com, and no plug, but found out from my DNA that actually I am majority Scottish and Irish, which is fascinating. And then for Christmas in 2016, I think it was,
Yeah.
I got him a DNA kit as well, and he did his, and lo and behold, who's got some Scottish Irish in them?
In Wales.
and Wales. This wonderful little Tico from Costa Rica
Yeah.
also. So, and one of the interesting things that when we met each other on the cruise ship, he was actually wearing a kilt at one of the parties. So kilts have been, and I have a kilt. So that was one of the things when we talked about getting married. His other non-negotiable was, we're getting married in Savannah and we're going to wear kilts. And he wanted formal kilts. So
we did.
And we did. So thank you very much for that. And we loved it. And our wedding even was more special because we had some of our guests wore kilts, which was fun. We had a bagpiper there. And even though the weather didn't cooperate, it turned out to be better that it rained, actually, because it really just kind of added to the whole mood of our wedding.
Yeah.
You know?
Very Scottish.
Yeah, very, very Scottish.
Then we have a good question. Darian is asking, was it hard to get license for gay marriage? Nope.
No, and let me tell you, to get our marriage license, just pretty much anywhere. I know every state is different. So in Georgia, you're required to go to the courthouse and you have to have proper identification and etc. So we went to the courthouse in the morning, and we walked in, and I was expecting, that it was going to take a while, and it's Georgia, so maybe you might get a little side eye. Could not be farther from the truth. The women that were working in that courthouse in Savannah, Georgia, when we applied for our marriage license, they were all like, tell us about where you're getting married. They were all excited. They were like so sweet about it, and bam, bam, we were in and out quick and easy. And then the day after our wedding, we had to take that marriage license that was signed off and bring it back to the courthouse because we were leaving Savannah to come back to South Florida, and we wanted to have the actual marriage certificate. And they actually kind of put us, the ladies were like, there were, no offense to our straight friends, but there were a bunch of straight couples that got married that week. This was Valentine's weekend, so a lot of people got married in Savannah. And there were a bunch of other people there waiting to get their certificates of marriage. And those ladies were like, stop! Gio and JC are here. And they were like, show us pictures. They were all so excited. So our experience with getting our marriage license in Georgia was phenomenal.
Yeah.
So we highly recommend Savannah as a place to get married.
Exactly. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Charles wants to know, was there a groomzilla between you two concerning the wedding day?
No.
No, actually, we never.
No, that's pretty.
I was stressed out the morning of the wedding just because we had planned it for so long, and I was looking at the weather, and I knew it was going to rain. And I was kind of bummed out about the rain, and he was great because he looked at me and he was like, "There's nothing we could do about it. Let's just." So he helped calm me down. But no, we were equal in the whole planning process. We did the whole thing on our own too. I shouldn't say on our own. We did hire a wedding planner in Savannah because we were planning it from South Florida, getting married up there. So my sister, who's married off both of her daughters, so she's been through weddings, so she was a big help, and the wedding planner was a big help. But
yeah, same with my family. I had my sister and Marcela helping me a lot with
in Costa Rica.
Regards with
Yeah, and it was great because his family was able to travel. He had his mother and father and his sister and his best friend Marcella and her husband, and he has family that live up in New Jersey. So the fact that we were able to include his family, my family, being a binational, biracial, age gap, all of those things that, you would think would be a challenge for just a regular couple, and then add on top of it the fact that we're gay, we felt extremely, extremely blessed. And I say that and it just sounds weird. As those words came out of my mouth, it sounded weird. But to have our families by our side, that was phenomenal. And we kept our wedding small. We were less than 50 guests. So we wanted just immediate family and those close friends of ours that were part of our story and part of our journey as a couple, that we invited those people so that our wedding was very intimate. And I think it was more special that way.
Yeah, and thinking about that, I mean, part of the success of Pride is that we have allies, straight people that fought for us, along us as well.
Right.
It's, we cannot isolate ourselves and be surrounded by people like us. No, we need everybody. We
Right.
need everybody so we can accomplish more. Because united, we are better, we are stronger.
Absolutely.
So even though a lot of our allies don't know it, that they are like our families, our friends,
Mhm.
they are also part of our force. They are our heroes, because if it wasn't for them, we could not accomplish anything.
Right.
So thank you very much for all of them, for all their support, for all their love. Because
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah,
it's
to have those friends and family, and as he said, straight allies um, on your side, and it's not lost on us that we are unique and that we are lucky and that we have that, and we're so blessed to have our family by our sides. But we're also recognize the fact, and we do have friends of ours, very close friends of ours, that do not have that same relationship with their families, and that's really difficult, and that's very hard for people. So we recognize that we're very blessed in that regard. So, speaking of somebody else, look at that. Somebody who was at our wedding. Hi, Bryce. Happy Pride.
hi, Bryce.
All our love to you. Let's see. Jay Michael says, my partner and I were on that Love Boat cruise. They've been together for 20. Oh, yeah, yeah. You had commented on our channel. Maybe you were maybe you were. You were probably at that same party when we were out there on the deck when we met. And I walked up to him and asked him to dance. And what did he do? He said no. He turned me down right away. But I was
I was
persistent.
like, bye, Felicia.
So, speaking of other things, you know what I'm going to talk about for a minute, and I want to share. Speaking of pride, and when we started doing this channel, and the main reason we did it was because he was living in Costa Rica, I'm living in Florida. We're traveling back and forth between both countries for 5 years, cultivating our relationship, and we had friends and family. I already had this YouTube channel for years, and it was just really nothing was going on with it. Every now and then I'd post a video, but I wasn't doing anything with it. But everybody kept asking, friends of mine and friends of his, and what's it like in Costa Rica? What's it like in the United States? Or what's it like when you guys are traveling or whatever? So mainly we started doing these videos just so we could share with those allies of ours and our close friends and our family. And we never ever realized that we were going to have an audience of all of you watching our channel, and then it just sort of snowballed from there. And it was about, I don't know how long, probably close to a year ago, we got a message on our Instagram from a viewer, and I'm not going to say who that person is, but when they're watching this video, they will know who they are. But we received a message, and the message was from a parent of a young child who they live in a rural area, and the parent had reached out and said, hey, I really enjoy watching your videos. We've recently found out that our child identifies as gay, and our child is really going through a hard time being bullied at school and trying to find a foothold, and is there any advice you can give us? And I remember we got that message, and I was like, I looked at him and I was like, holy moly, that's powerful that somebody felt comfortable enough to reach out to us on social media for guidance. And then I thought, wow, what a cool parent this is for doing that. So I did. I responded to this parent, and I said, first off, number one, your child is very, very blessed to have you as a parent. Number one, you need to know that. And for any parent to reach out and want to make life better for their LGBTQ child means that you have a tremendous amount of love for that child. So first and foremost, I wanted that parent to know how important that was. And then secondly, I said, well, much like I mentioned earlier, that there are resources available today that didn't exist back when I was a young man, or didn't exist for my parents when I was coming out, that do exist today. So, I reached it back out to the parent and I said, here's a list, or here's organizations that you'll probably find in your local area. PFLAG being one, Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays. I talked about the Gay and Lesbian Community Center that would be in their closest major city. I talked about the student groups that are formed in many schools, et cetera, et cetera. And then I found out that this person lives pretty rural, so they're not close to a major metropolitan area. So again, we kind of went back and forth, and I gave them some more resources that they could utilize online. And then a few months later, we got another message from this parent that I'm going to try not to cry. I get emotional about stuff, but they had been working with their child, and their child befriended a few other local children in their area, and they invited those children and those parents to their home, and they formed their own little gay and lesbian straight alliance in their own community, in this rural community, and brought these people together. And the child had watched some of our videos, and they actually named their group. You say it, I can't, I'm going to cry.
Happiness is a lifestyle.
So yeah, they named their group Happiness is a Lifestyle. And it was at that moment when he and I sort of realized, wow, this little channel that we started doing has some sort of an impact. And I think it means more to him and I than you all know. So I'm going to take a drink of water because I get a little choked up about that. But the fact that we were able to have some sort of a positive impact on this young child and make a representation makes us feel good.
Yeah,
as a couple.
That's why it's important to be proud, to be out, to be loud.
Yeah.
Because if people heard your voice, then they get to know you, and people around you that maybe never had a contact with a gay person, they will be like, okay, this person I always knew, and he's just a person just like me, and it's a great person. It's just like anyone else. So yeah, they gay people is just like the next door neighbor. So they realize that we are like just like any other human in this planet.
Yes.
Right. So
yeah,
that's why you need to make sure that your voice.
Yeah, it's important to share your voices, and it's also important too. And also, we recognize, even though we do have this platform and we have this channel and we now have an audience, we're not going to resonate with everybody, and that's okay too. And we've gotten our share of hateful comments on the channel, and typically I leave those unless it's something really vulgar. I will allow the person who doesn't want to say anything nice or has a rude comment about us being gay or whatever it is that they want to say, as long as it's not vulgar or profanity or just really, really derogatory. But if everybody has a voice. So I recognize and I value that people's opinions, whether they're my opinion or not, we value that they have them. So let's see. We got a couple more questions here. I'll let you take this one from Ari Garcia. It's in Espanol.
This is in my country. They do a pride like this since 2018.
Donde?
And he is from, I think he said he was from Colombia.
You're from Colombia, Ari?
Think, yeah.
Okay.
And then the last years was super, but sadly this year was not possible.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the unfortunate, as you know, in the month of June, we really haven't had many Pride celebrations or no Pride celebrations except virtually. So that's been interesting. George asks, how was coming to the parents? Not going to go into a ton of detail, but for me, it was pretty non-eventful. I came out to my mother first, then my sisters, and my father last, and every single one of them embraced me. So it was the 1980s. Times were different, and then his experience was recent.
Yeah, it was a good experience with them too.
And his family were totally accepting of him and me, which has been amazing. So thankfully. Charles wants to know, is this our first marriage? You guys give me faith and courage. He's yes. 37. So yes, I waited a long time
So yes,
marriage.
it
No,
was our first marriage.
it is our
That's
first
the
marriage.
answer.
There you have it. And we should be happy and happy pride. Yes, we are very proud and happy. Chappie says he loves that.
From Panama, sorry.
Oh, Panama. So sorry, Ari from Panama, right below us.
Ari
Our
Garcia.
neighbor to the south of Costa Rica.
Ari Garcia Estrada.
Ari Garcia Estrada. I like your name. I like the name Ari.
Chappie.
It's a cool name. So what other questions do you all have pride related, or any comments from you on your own experiences? Have any of you ever participated in a gay pride parade or a festival or marched or protested? Just curious. And then what do you think about where we are today as a gay community versus where we were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, all the way back to 51 years ago, Stonewall? How do you feel encouraged like we do that we've come a long way? But we still have a long way to go, that's for sure. For sure. What does Mickey have to say?
He's happy.
He's happy.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're super happy that all of you have tuned in with us tonight and taken the time to chat and to listen and hopefully learn. That was really our aim tonight of having this Pride celebration chat with all of you on this very special day of June 28th, 2020, 51 years since the Stonewall riots. And if they haven't done so yet,
Hit the button down below and subscribe.
right down there. Go ahead, hit that thumbs up. Did you do it yet? I see there's, how many are watching? We've got, let me see if I can tell here. We have 17 thumbs up, and we've had like 30-something people watching. So half of you have done it. Pride aside, do we have any travel plans? Videos. New York is asking. We do have travel plans. They're not they're fluid right now, our travel plans, depending on what's happening in the world. But we were thinking about doing some local staycation stuff. Juan Carlos has never been to Key West, so that's a place that's not far from here. It's a few-hour drive that we may go down there. Orlando is slowly opening back up, and Disney is reopening on July 11th.
Yeah.
Being an annual pass holder, we looked and we were like, oh, I looked. He doesn't even know yet. But immediately those passes were, because you have to make reservations now. So the reservation system went live yesterday. There were all kinds of glitches with it. And by the time I got into the system to look if there were availability, the earliest availability now is the last weekend of July. So, and probably by today it's August. So, they have limited capacity of how many people they're letting in the parks. I don't even know what that is. So I'm not sure if Orlando is going to happen for us until August. We definitely have plans for our honeymoon in the future, that we will be traveling back to Europe. Our goal is to travel Ireland, Scotland, Wales, Great Britain, the British Isles.
Yeah.
So that's in the future. Obviously going back to Costa Rica as soon as travel can open up again. But yeah, for the time being, it's going to be here in the U.S. So if you have any suggestions for us or any cool places to go that you think would be good, look who is here. Dun, da, da. Woot, 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 woot. I got to do that because it's Turn It Up World.
Oh, hey.
They always do this to us. Hey, welcome. Yep, sorry, I took my ears off. I was getting a little sweaty. So there you go. Put them back on for a minute. Happy Pride. Yay. We love you guys. Turn It Up World. Are you guys, they've been out in Vegas. So if you're actually curious about what's going on in Las Vegas and seeing how the whole opening is going there with casinos and the first buffet that opened at the Wynn, Turn It Up World has done some great videos on what's happening in Las Vegas. So
tune in and see watch their videos because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, they're so much fun, and we're planning at some point we're going to connect, hopefully at Disney, and do a collaboration with them because they're a lot of fun. Great couple. Jay says, "Thank you for being us." Thank you. We appreciate that, Michael. And And Marcella says she's sending us lots of hugs, big hugs, all the way back to Costa Rica. Marcella, te amo. Oh boy. But yeah, so just wrapping up our night here. Sorry you guys came in at the end, Turn It Up World. It's like me coming into your live chats. It seems like we're like passing ships in the night, right? But we're getting ready to wrap things up here. But, you know, again, June 28th, 2020, it's definitely been a different Pride in the sense that the communities haven't been able to necessarily get out in the streets and celebrate like we typically do, but thankfully we have this wonderful new platform of technology and social media that's bringing the world together, and we're happy you all tuned in with us tonight to celebrate Pride with us. Hopefully you learned a little bit about the history of Pride in the little video we showed you of the Stonewall riots that occurred on this day in 1969, and excuse me, got a little hiccup. And subsequently, all of the amazing things that have happened for our community since then.
Mm-hmm.
So, last words for you on what Pride has meant for you the last 5 years?
It meant finding myself and realizing that people who love you will always be there for you, and that if somebody doesn't love you for who you are, then good for them. You continue with your life. Be proud.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. So yeah, that would be our message, is just to be proud of who you are, whoever you are, wherever you are, and whatever you are. As long as you're not hurting anyone and you're a good person, celebrate it. So from us to you, we really appreciate it. And as we always say, let's see if we can do it. Oh, happiness is a lifestyle. And for our friends in Costa Rica, pura vida.
Pura vida.
And if you don't know what that means pure life, and we believe that wholeheartedly. And overall, we've really had a great time chatting with you guys tonight. Thanks for celebrating Pride with us. Where's our little Pride logo? Look at that. Shout out to, by the way, our friend Chad, who is an artist who's created our beautiful cartoons of us. And he's creating a whole bunch more for future things. So we're very grateful for him. And we're going to be doing a whole video about him in the near future. So anyway, so we really appreciate it. And again, if you haven't done so yet, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so that whenever we do, and leave us comments. We love them, and we do read them, and we do respond. Feedback. And don't forget, go over to our new website, www.gonjc.com. Check it out. We got our blog coming. And oh, by the way, we've got merch in the works. Some of this stuff, maybe some t-shirts, maybe some coffee mugs.
Maybe ears.
Maybe ears, I don't know. We're working on it. So we're happy that we could share that all with you all. So anyway, from us to you, saludos, buenas noches, adios.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride, everyone. Bye-bye.